Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Dream, and this is a fun conversation I get to have with Jenny Killham. She has a brand new EESystem Center in Montana, Hobson, Montana, right?
Yep.
Probably no one's really heard of it except people that are in and around Hobson. It's such a small town. It's a very rural area. And I suggested it would just be nice. I'm so impressed with Jenny doing this. Many of our EESystem centers are in areas that serve a much larger population. And what's the population of Hobson?
I believe it's about 250.
So to call it rural maybe is almost saying it's too big. But there's some other surrounding communities within. How close are the other communities out there?
Oh, well, the biggest town closest to us is about 30 miles away, Lewistown. And then we have tons of small little towns all over the place.
Okay.
Some 10, 15 minutes away. So
Well, I applaud you for bringing an EESystem Center to that area, and I hope everyone in the town of Hobson and in the surrounding area really understands how fortunate they are that you did this and you really put yourself out there. And I think it's great. Do you want to start off with just a little bit about why you chose to do this and what it means to you before we kind of talk about some of the other stuff?
sure. Well, my passion in life has always been to see people healthy, happy, and thriving. And I see a lot of people in the medical system that kind of struggle with that. They get some answers, but maybe don't get all the answers or aren't feeling much better. Unfortunately, about exactly this time last year, I flew to New Mexico to take care of my dad. We thought his back was just out after he was on a hunting trip. And it turned out he had an infection from his neck to his butt and his spine and ended up with emergency surgery. So I spent a lot of time in New Mexico last winter, kind of helping my dad, and he was in pretty rough shape. He's doing great now. Um, but I had a lot of time on my hands. And so my sister had mentioned that she had been to an EE system in the Denver area. And I started researching it and I was obsessed. And it was probably the best thing that has ever happened to me because I was living alone in a town that is not my home without my husband and all my animals. And thank goodness for some amazing family members. And they cheered me on because I told them this crazy idea I had that I wanted to open a center in Hobson, and especially my Aunt Paula was just my cheerleader from day one. And so, yeah, about a year ago, I started coming up with this idea, and then it was just a God thing because literally I just visualized what I wanted every single night. I just visualized that I had an E system, and I have it, and it's amazing, and I couldn't be happier.
So it's fascinating the way social media works. I've been following you since you started doing posts, and you started doing posts like months before your system was even set up. And I was just so impressed with that because it spoke to your commitment and dedication and the level of excitement that you have bringing this to so many people because you felt you like that intuition, that inner knowing of the value and how important this is. And
Yeah.
so I was just like, I reached out to you right away and I said, Jenny, anything I can do for you, any advice you need, anything like that, I'm here for you. I really want to support you. And now it's come to fruition. You're having your grand opening here in like the next few days. And
Mhm.
how incredibly exciting. Like I feel like I'm part of that with you. And I really love it because we have a strong community network of EE system owners all around the world. There's there's over 500 centers that are, authorized, verified EESystem centers. And people can find out about it at eesystem.com. And there's a thing that says find a center, and you just put in your city, and like magically, if there's not one in your city, it'll say, oh, here's one 20 miles away or something like that. And does all the legwork of finding the systems near you. And so it's a thrilling thing, and I'm happy to have been with you along the way and given you some advice. But you're really self-motivated and self-directed, and you've done a really fabulous job with it. And so it was exciting for me that I said, hey, let's just have a conversation and we'll record it. And you said, I'm not really about recording stuff. And I said, it doesn't matter. It's just going to be this fun conversation. And look how much fun it already is.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I also want to give a quick shout out to Marty Randolph at the Southwest Wellness Center in Cortez, Colorado, because that is where I first did my overnights when I was in New Mexico for the winter. And my Aunt Paula and Uncle Rich went with me, and we just had an amazing time. And Marty's amazing, and he also has been super supportive. And I thank you for all your support. I've just come across the most amazing people in this journey, and I'm so grateful, and I'm so grateful to have it here in Hobson and having people come to the center regularly, and it's amazing. It's really amazing.
I love it. I've heard great things about Marty. I've been to over 40 centers all around the United States, and I haven't made it to Marty's center yet, but he keeps popping up on the radar about how wonderful he is. So sometime soon, I'm going to get there.
Yeah. His whole family. I unfortunately don't remember all of their names, but it's a whole family operation, and they're almost always there, and it's just incredible. So yeah, definitely go check out that.
I love it. Well, as you know, I had my own amazing experience with EESystem back in September of 2020. I experienced back-to-back strokes. And the inventor of the technology of EESystem, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, reached out. I was in the hospital for 12 days. I'm a healing practitioner myself. Allopathic medicine has never been my thing. So to be in the hospital 12 days was actually pretty shocking. But Dr. Sandra Rose Michael reached out to me, and we had never met in person. I guess we had spoken at a couple of the same conferences, done presentations, but anyway, she reached out to me and said, listen, Dr. Dream, I've heard about what happened to you, and I'm the inventor of a technology that has been proven very successful for people that have had strokes. And she said, get yourself to Las Vegas, because in 2020, almost all the systems that were around the world were private. They were in people's homes and things like that. It wasn't like there weren't EESystem centers all over. And she said, get to Las Vegas. We've got a guest room here with a EESystem units in there. And get here. We need to get you back touring and doing the things that you do. And at that time, I was in a wheelchair and kind of barely able to use a walker. So my wife's family drove us down to Las Vegas. We're in rural Idaho, not as rural as you are in Montana. We have 4,000 in our town and one stoplight. But my wife's family drove us to Las Vegas because I wasn't capable of doing any of that. And we went to Dr. Sandra's home, and she's cute because she says it took me like 40 minutes to get back to the guest bedroom where the EESystem was set up, but we were having a bit of a conversation. So maybe if you took all the conversation out, maybe it took 20 minutes to get back there. But it just speaks to how I wasn't very mobile at all. And we got back there, and I didn't know anything about EESystem. And I look, and there's these towers in each corner of the room with these screens exactly, like in my thing right here and behind you. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. It was like the Matrix in color. And I'm like, that's pretty nifty, And I said to her, what do I do? And she said, set your intention for why you're here. What is your desired outcome? And then she said, and it was just a bed. It was literally a guest room in her house. And so there's a queen size bed. And she said, just lay on the bed, take a nap, meditate, do whatever. So I set my intention, and Stephanie, my wife, and I laid down there. And this was 2.5 weeks after my back-to-back strokes. I was exhausted, and we had driven, we were driven to Las Vegas. It was a long trip for me, the whole thing. And so laid down on this bed, immediately fell asleep. And it was going to be a 3-hour session. And 2 hours later, Stephanie woke up, and I'm sitting on the edge of the bed. She said, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I have to go to the bathroom." And she said, "Do you need help?" And I said, "No." And I stood up and I walked past my walker, and I walked to the bathroom, which was like 50, 60 feet away. I didn't touch any furniture. I didn't touch any walls, countertops, nothing to steady me. Remember, I barely got in there in the walker, and now I'm just walking past everything. Now, maybe too much information, but I'm going to share it. I peed standing up, which I hadn't been able to do in 2.5 weeks since before the strokes. And I walk back on my own, again, not touching anything. I walk into that guest room with the EE system, and my wife's eyes, I'll never forget it. It's like the cartoon where, the character's eyes are like saucers, and her eyes were that way. And she's like, "What the?" And I said, "Sweetie, I have no idea what's going on here. Can't explain it, but the proof is in the pudding, and the pudding just walked to the bathroom and peed standing up. There's something happening here." We spent another hour. And so that was like this immediate miracle that I experienced. And it caught me off guard. I mean, I didn't know what to expect. It was amazing. Now, I will share that my complete recovery took 2.5 years to totally get my equilibrium back and my balance and everything like that. It took 2.5 years of pretty consistently going to, we stayed in Las Vegas for 5 weeks. We would go over to Dr. Sandra's 5 or 6 days a week. We spent 70 hours in that 5 weeks in the room. And then we bought a cube, which is like the portable unit. It's not portable. Like it's kind of portable. Certainly more portable than all this is. And so we would do that. And then we would go back to Dr. Sandra's every few months and re-up in the main energy. And it was nothing short of miraculous what I experienced. And at the time I thought, because there weren't stories, there were no Facebook groups, there were no testimonial pages or anything. And I thought, okay, there must be something about me. And then I even started to question, I'm like, maybe I didn't really have a stroke. Maybe it was just all something odd, some anomaly or something like that. I didn't even know how to make sense of it. Now, after everything kind of went viral and everything in 2022, all of a sudden, I'm surfing all these sites and reading all these miracles and realizing that miracles are happening every single day at EESystem centers all over the world. And then we did a sound healing tour, and we went to more than 40 different EESystem centers. And Jenny, it was the greatest thing because we got to meet all these owners, and we got to see how their different centers were set up. We got to hear their stories. And then for their members and clients, I got to share my story of how it worked for me and everything like that. And then we did our sound healing experience. And what really touched me, and you are exemplary of this, is the heart space that the owners come from. Really wanting to bring healing to their communities and to just assist people and put themselves out there. And I don't need to tell you this, there's quite an upfront investment, and that's just to like get the equipment. And then, for you had to refit this entire home that you've turned into a center. And that's a common thing. If people don't have it in their home, most of them are like retail places that they're leasing, they had to tear down walls and do this and that. And so the upfront expense was formidable for everybody that's opened a center. But then beyond that, it's the complete dedication of your heart, of your spirit. It's not like a regular job.
No.
You really immerse yourself in it and you're living it. And I developed such a respect and honor for all EESystem owners. And even at that point, then invested in a system and became a partner in a system in Whitewater, Kansas, which isn't even near where we live. But we love Terry and Jane so much. I said, I want to be part of what you have going on here. And so now we find ourselves even vested in an actual center, which is incredibly exciting. And, people want to know, they're like, all right, Dr. Dream, you have been around, you've been to all these centers. You're probably a good one to be able to explain exactly what's going on. And it's funny because I've never been the science guy. And I'll just preface this by saying, I'm still not the science guy. Okay. I'm literally the proof is in the pudding guy. I'm like, I went from not being able to walk very well at all to being very mobile. And EESystem didn't save my life. It gave me back my quality of life.
Right.
And so, first and foremost, the most important thing to share is that the EESystem does not diagnose, treat, or prevent disease. And people are like, okay, well, then what does it do? And the bottom line is it creates a highly supportive environment for your body to do what it does naturally, which is heal itself. Now, I've talked to people all over the country and actually all over the world. I do interviews with people in other countries about EESystem, and I hear all these stories. And one of the things that I hear is, like, this is kind of a common one. I went in there for XYZ. And it was interesting because what happened to me before it addressed anything I thought I went in there to have addressed is it started, like, mentally, I started feeling better, or, this other pain I had went away first. And people are like, why does that happen? And it's like, because your body, we may have an idea in our mind what we want to happen, but your body prioritizes the process, and your body accepts it's like you're a cell phone that's the charge has been depleted. And you walk into an EESystem Center and it's like you get plugged in, and then all of your cells are brought up to their peak levels. So then they know what to do, like the innate ability of our bodies to know what to do. Like, we cut our finger, we don't say, okay, heal. But after a while, a little scab forms, and then, it heals under there, and then the scab goes away. And after a while, you can't even tell that you did anything with that finger. You didn't guide that. You just allowed your body to do that. And so that's a big word with the EESystem energetic, is allowing. And so people say to me, how can I make the most of my experience in an EESystem Center? And I'm like, go in there, have an intention. But maybe instead of saying I'm choosing to have this specific thing healed, go in there with the intention of I'm allowing this energy to affect my body in the highest and best way possible, or to affect my entire being in the highest and best way possible. And if you're going to have a specific intention, then think about the languaging. Because Dr. Sandra and I were talking the other day, and we actually included this in a video that we did. And she said she had someone, a mother came to her and said, I brought my son in here. He's got a problem with bedwetting, and he's still wetting the bed. And she said, well, what's the stated intention? And what are you focused on when you're in there? And she's like, my intention is for him to stop wetting the bed. And Dr. Sandra said, well, maybe shifting that the way you're stating that intention to my intention is for my son to be wake up in the morning happy and dry.
Right.
Now, because we just went from bedwetting, which if you've been dealing with this for 2 or 3 years, you even say the words bedwetting and your whole body constricts.
Right.
And we shift it to happy and dry when he wakes up in the morning. It's like, oh man, you just feel that expansion. So you wouldn't want to go to an EESystem Center and say, my intention is to heal my cancer. Okay, so maybe let's just say it's lung cancer. You would go in and shift that languaging to my intention is to have healthy and clear lungs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the universe, the quantum field, God hears cancer. And then the focus is on cancer. And then the person is still focusing their attention on cancer, and whatever we focus on expands.
Mm-hmm.
So much better to focus on healthy and clear lungs, or for me, balance and equilibrium. Nothing to do with the word stroke, So I was wanting my balance and equilibrium back, wanting to feel, choosing. Choice, and the word choosing, that's big. So choosing and allowing, the languaging is so important because our body hears this, and there's a focus that happens. And so, and then just going in there, and it's like, you don't really need to do anything. I can't tell you, like we used to go anytime we were in an EE system was, in the beginning, always Dr. Sandra's, and we always just went in there and took a nap.
Yeah.
It was really hard for us later on when we started going to centers not to fall asleep in the centers, because our bodies were just so used to going in there, falling asleep, and going into a deep healing energetic. And that's what happens with a lot of people. It's just you allow yourself to relax. You're open to receive these energies, and then just allowing your body to do what it does best. And it's the stories. Go to eesystem.com and look at the testimonials. And you're going to have, I know you've already got some stories that have happened, but you're going to have a multitude of stories from people sharing like the amazing results of what the EE system is assisting them in their own personal healing. Because the bottom line is, it all comes from within us, and we just need to allow the process to happen, be open to receive, and just kind of go with the flow. But other than that, we don't really need to do anything. It's
That's
kind of
so amazing. I just love that.
It's like the nicest thing. You just walk in, I see these beautiful chairs behind you. You sit in this great chair, you kick your legs up, and nothing else is required. It's just like, okay, I'm just going to be open to what happens here.
Yeah.
And so I really love that. And I so applaud everything that you're doing and everything that you're bringing to your community, because I, for one, along with so many people all over the world, know exactly what that means to the people that will show up here, to the people that will continue to come back. There's a thing about being consistent with it and particularly in the beginning, getting as many hours as you can possibly get in the system in the shortest amount of time, because it's all cumulative. And so I recommend that if someone's got something very intense, very persistent that's going on, spend as much time as possible in the shortest amount of time. Like in the first month, go as often as you can. I know you're going to have packages and all these things going on, and I recommend that people really go for whatever the biggest package, the biggest number of hours that they can afford and that makes sense and everything with their budget, so they can get in this energy as much as possible.
Yeah, it's incredible. I do have to say, most people don't know this about me, but I didn't drive for about 7 years, maybe a little more, because I experienced pretty intense, insanely intense anxiety driving. And so when I was in and I've worked for 5 years with an Ayurvedic practitioner, and I've come a long way, and I was doing a lot better. But when I went to New Mexico and I was living by myself and needed to drive every single day, and then I drove an hour and a half to Cortez to go spend the night at the system. And I really think that that was, I mean, I've done a ton of work and I'm not discrediting that, but spending the night in the system really seemed to just calm me. And I don't think I've experienced anxiety. I have not experienced anxiety to that level since then. And it's just incredible. But it's so subtle. The energy is so subtle. And I kind of explain healing like peeling an onion. Some layers are really thin and kind of sticky, but some layers are thick and pop off easily. And your body decides what comes first and what's the most important. So it's just incredible to me. I'm so blessed.
And it's different for everyone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, some people have like an immediate response. Some people can walk into an EE system room and be like, whoa, I feel all this energy. And others are like, well, I don't really feel it. It's nice in this room, but I'm not feeling the energy. I mean, we all have different levels of how that works for us. And everyone's body is different. And
Yeah.
so, I mean, some things I've met people that have had chronic stuff going on for 30 years. All right,
Right.
well, you're not going to step into an EESystem Center after having this chronic stuff going on for 30 years and just have it go away like that. I mean, you may notice some subtle changes, but it's the consistency and the amount of time and everything, and it begins to work. And then, really connecting with, there's an emotional component to everything that goes on with us physically. And
Mhm.
once things settle down and you're calming and everything, maybe asking yourself, well, wow, Dr. Dream said there's an emotional component going on with everything that's happening physically. I wonder what my emotional component with this is. And kind of
Mhm.
taking yourself on that inner journey, all of that really helps the process become more effective and more efficient. And so,
Yeah.
these are little perspectives, or not little really, I mean important perspectives that we move into. But the most important thing, get into the center, get into the energy, get into the allowing space, get into the receiving space, and then just let it do its thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well,
you've got your opening, your grand opening. So you've been having people there already, and you obviously started with, your closest circle and everything, and it's expanded from there. And I understand the word of mouth in Hobson is really awesome, and people are talking about it and everything else. Do you have some stories to share with us early on? I mean, you haven't even had your grand opening, so maybe I'm jumping the gun here, but anything you want to
well,
share?
I had one lady that came in and she was like while she was in the chair experiencing extreme pain in her right arm and all the way down her leg to her big toe. And then the next time, like by the end of the session, that pain was gone, but and it had woken her up. And the next time it was just in her arm. And then the time after that she came, she said it was gone. It's been completely gone. And just tons of people sleeping so much better. I actually have an intake form, so everybody rates how they're feeling, both kind of physically and emotionally. It's not super extensive, but I've seen the anxiety numbers go down like 3 to 5 points every single time. It's just amazing. Like I said, sleeping so much better. Some pain reduction. Some people have some pretty intense things going on, but they just feel calmer, or they'll tell me little stories about how they had so much more energy the other day, or maybe they had no energy after the session, but then a couple days later they had a lot. And I think it always, after a session, it takes a couple days to integrate, I believe. And so yeah, and then I'm just like really big on the detox. Some people
Right.
can't get in the bath, but and so we have options for that, but definitely the detox bath is so important. It should not be forgotten ever.
No, I often say that the EE system is really a two-step process. And the first step is being in the energy. And the second step, and it's not like, oh, maybe you do the second step. It's like, no, they go hand in hand. The second step is the detox. And the very best way to do the detox is the detox bath with the salt, the non-iodized salt like sea salt or the Himalayan pink salt, not Epsom salt, so just the regular salt, and then the borax. So it's the 2 cups of salt, 2 cups of baking soda, and a cup of borax. And it sounds like a lot, but the detox is key, because what's happening is your body is naturally wanting to push things out. Okay, it gets in this thing, in this energy of the EE system, and your body knows exactly what to do. And it's like, wow, we've been living in such a toxic environment and blah, 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 blah. We need to get these toxins out, and they need to have a way out. So hydration, drinking lots of water. And then when you think you've drank enough water, drink like more. And then doing the detox bath, or you have some other options. People that don't have bathtubs, we were in an RV, and when we stayed in Las Vegas for Dr. Sandra's, we were at an RV park, and we had a hotel room across the street at the Silverado Hotel. And I'm pretty sure we were the only people in the RV park for 5 weeks that had a hotel room across the street for 5 weeks. We don't really like hotel rooms, but we'd go over there each day and spend like an hour and a half there. We'd both take our detox bath, and then we'd leave. We have no idea what the people at the hotel thought was going on, but this is what was happening. And, but also Dr. Sadra said, take a tall kitchen trash can, one of those plastic ones, and fill it with hot water, as hot as your legs can handle. And so it can get up close to your knees, and put in about half so 1 cup, and half a cup then of the borax in there. And you can do it that way. So it's kind of like anyone can really do that. It's all achievable, but don't ever discount the value of how important the detox is. Okay,
Right.
it's
I actually
really
got myself sick at the first week of being, well, no, it was about the third week of being in here, because I was like, well, probably most center owners were saying they don't detox every day. And so I thought, oh, I don't need to do it. I'll do it a couple times a week. And man, I missed a couple of days. Just I'm not even in the room all the time, but just being close to the energy, and it kind of took me out. So
right, exactly. So you know firsthand the value of that. And then also there's been great information shared recently about trace minerals, and adding that. And I know you've got trace minerals there that you recommend, that were recommended by Dr. Sandra. And so even I just started, I got involved in this in 2020. I just started the trace minerals in the last month. And so constantly learning, constantly getting more information about it. You're already a wealth of information, but we have owners, seminars, and workshops and everything that you're going to all the time. You're very involved in the groups, so you're constantly getting information. And I would suggest to your clients and members, ask about it. And if you don't have an answer, you know where to look or who to ask for more information. And it makes a difference. But kudos to you, Jenny, for your location, for everything that you're doing. And boy, if your new members are watching this, you guys scored, because you've got Jenny in your community, and you've got EESystem right there in your community. And it is a major plus. And I wish you all the greatest success. And I know what success means to you, Jenny. Success means a whole list of people that are experiencing deep healing, changing their lives, getting their health back, getting their mind back, getting that calm within back, all of that. And so I wish great success in that mission for you, and deep healing for everyone that comes into your center. And I just want to thank you for accepting this invitation to have this conversation today, because it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, it has. And thank you so much. And I have watched every single one of your videos, and I thank you for all the information and especially interviews with the system owners. They were super inspiring to me this last year while I was trying to figure out how in the heck this was gonna happen. So thank you.
Well, you now just became one of those inspiring interviews. And so there'll be some owner that's going to come to you one day or send you an email and say, you know, that conversation you had with Dr. Dream reminded me how important it is to bring this to rural areas. And by golly, if Jenny can do it, I can do it in my town and everything like that. So thank you so much, dear. And I look forward to meeting you in person one day. And, you know, we're just in Idaho, so it's not like it's that far away for us to come to Montana. So maybe we'll end up doing something there, and I'll get to meet some of your members and things like that. But thank you for your time today.
Yes, thank you.